Hello. Hi. How's it going? It's me, Sylvan. I just sort of wanted to real quick make a bit of an update video. It's been about 4 months since the last one, and I feel like there's some stuff worth talking about. Mainly just sort of reminiscing and looking back at these last 4 months or so, but also looking to the future a little bit, talking about a little bit what the future holds. And among that is actually a fairly notable announcement that I'll be making a little bit later in this video, but I'll take it sort of one step at a time. We'll start with just sort of the looking back, and we'll move forward. As I said, it's been about 4 months since the last update video, and in that, I announced that I wanted to do more with my channel. I wanted to expand my content, do more things, that kind of stuff. It was after that that I started streaming, doing anime reactions, all that kind of stuff. And I've greatly enjoyed it. I've greatly enjoyed the way that my channel has grown and expanded in that time. During that time was the 1 year anniversary of the channel. I made a community post about that at the time, but I didn't make any video about it because I didn't necessarily feel like I had too much to say about it, just, wanted to acknowledge it. But very much these last 4 months, I think, have been some of the best times in my channel. Obviously, just from a number standpoint, the channel's been bigger than ever. As of recording this, I have just over 530 subscribers. Even just a month ago, that would be drastically lower, which I very much appreciate. Though, of course, there is part of it that is me. People wouldn't subscribe if they didn't like my stuff. But at the end of the day, it is all of you guys who make that possible. I can't get someone to subscribe without someone subscribing. And yeah, it's just wild to think about that. 530 something people think what I do is cool enough to keep watching, to want to keep up with it. It's one of those things where when you're looking at it from an outside perspective, looking at these channels that have like 1 million subscribers, get 1 million views every video, stuff like that. They stop being people, they begin being statistics, and you don't know any of those people necessarily in that grand number, so it doesn't surprise you as much, other than just being big number. But to me, now that I've actually started a channel, been working at it for a while, seen a lot of you guys in the comments multiple times, begun to sort of get a sense of who some of you are, it really puts that 500 something number in perspective. And that's something I want to keep in mind and in perspective going forward, is even if my channel gets bigger, even if I somehow someday in however many years from now have 1,000 subscribers, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever number I reach. Though I don't want to get unnecessarily parasocial, as inevitably that has issues, I do want to, as best I can until I literally can't anymore, keep in mind that each of you is a different person that came to me for something you like, and I want to keep that in mind. I appreciate you all very much. But to look at more specifically what has happened and what will happen, like I said, it's only in these last 4 months that I started streaming. Streaming, I think, is personally one of the best things I've done since then. Just in the sense of not necessarily quality. I'm not saying my streams are the best things I'm making, but they are one of the more fun things. They require a lot less effort than any of my other videos, because I'm not really editing them or anything. I'm just leaving the VODs up after the fact. And the streams themselves are really enjoyable. I already like playing through the games that I cover, believe it or not. I wouldn't have made a channel about them otherwise. But as I've said in many of my streams, playing through Star Rail, Genshin, Zenless, whatever it may be, on stream has truly made me focus on it more, pay attention to what's happening, the themes, whatever it is, and appreciate it that much more. I'm not just making content when I'm streaming, I'm developing more of an appreciation than I would otherwise for the games that I'm playing. And even for my more side stuff, my typically less successful streams. Mainly that's the Pokemon streams, but recently the one Deltarune stream, and all the way back a Balatro stream I did. All of those I also greatly enjoyed. The Pokemon for sure is the standout, but then on the other side of things I also was doing anime. And will continue to. There was absolutely a learning curve at first for that, because of just the differences between reacting to and analyzing a full episode of anime, and that being something that I can't just directly show you. I have to obscure and stuff like that because copyright. Was absolutely a learning experience. You can see how jank sort of my initial 1 or 2 reactions to Apothecary Diaries were. I'm really happy I did them. Though there are absolutely a few videos of my anime reactions that have done really, really well, for the most part, they much more have just sort of been to that one dedicated audience of either show that I'm reacting to, being Fruits Basket and Apothecary Diaries right now, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. As much as inevitably most YouTubers want number to go up, I think both between my streams and my anime reactions, the thing that they have truly sort of reminded me of and made sure I keep in mind is, even if they are not the thing that gets me numbers, if I'm enjoying them, they are worth it. And I am. I am very much enjoying them. I probably wouldn't have watched Fruits Basket for years, if ever, if it wasn't what won the, like, poll tournament thing I did. And I'm incredibly thankful for that, because it's such a good series. And I absolutely would have watched Apothecary Diaries in my own time, but it is, once again, something I'm paying much more attention to when I'm reacting to it. And for the streams that don't do as well, it's also that sort of sense where I'm enjoying it, I'm having fun. It often feels a little bit more like I'm just sort of hanging out, bantering with people a little bit, and I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it as much as I can. Now, of course, not everything that I said that I would do in the update video came to pass. I mentioned that I wanted to make more elaborate videos, more structured videos, more heavily edited videos, and that hasn't really come to pass. In the background, I've attempted to sort of put together some things in the past over the couple months after making that video, but nothing really came to fruition. A lot of it was stuff that would have, I think, been sort of interesting and good if I put the time and effort into it, but there was a mix of personal motivation issues and just a lack of time on my front to get things out in a timely manner, because a lot of them were stuff that really needed me to get it out as quickly as possible, given the subject matter. For example, early on in Amphorius' storyline for Star Rail, I came up with the idea of potentially making a video exploring the inspirations behind the names and events of the various Chrysos heirs, and I did a fair amount of research for that. You can see it come up in some of my videos and streams. For example, I knew through Castoras's name origins that there was probably going to be a character named Pollux or something similar. Little did I know we were going to get Pollux and Polixia and them being sort of the same person type thing. But I was aware of that because Castoras comes from Castor, which is a mythological figure who was brothers with someone named Pollux, that kind of thing. I'm not going to get into all that right now because that's not what this video is about. But you can see from some of my videos, as I said, that I drew from that research I did. But the video I intended to make about that never really came to pass, because by the time I was done with the research I had done, it was just far enough into Amphorius we already sort of knew what was happening with a lot of the characters. I still think something like that could be a good video. I still think you could get stuff out of that, but it would be less of what I was intending, being more of a like predictive video based on their inspirations, and more so just sort of a fun fact type thing. But at this point I'm on a tangent. The point is, I've had a few bigger ideas that I've tried to work on, but just for one reason or another didn't work out. And at this point, I've sort of, for the time being, given up on doing bigger videos like that. Just between streaming, anime reactions, and all of my usual reactions, I just realistically don't have the time for it without it just monopolizing all of my free time. But that does actually lead us to sort of my two big things to talk about for the future. One ties into that idea of me not having enough time for things. As I have mentioned before, am not a full-time YouTuber. I am not a full-time streamer. I am not a full-time content creator. I am a person who is doing this in my free time while I'm living my normal life unchanged largely. And though I don't usually talk about my personal life, as I sort of like to keep that separate to some degree, I feel like it's worthwhile to mention vaguely what's going on with me right now. More specifically, I currently am job hunting. I'm looking for a new job, and that means that I've recently had a little bit more time on my hands. That's why I've been able to stream a little bit more occasionally. It's why I'm thinking of trying out a few new things on streams like Deltarune, that kind of stuff. But inevitably, once I get a new job. It'll almost certainly affect how much I'm able to do. It will probably result in me not being able to stream like twice a week semi-consistently or anything like that. And depending on what my work schedule looks like, it may even result in me having to adjust when I'm releasing things for my actual videos. As for example, if I'm working Friday morning and afternoon, I can't do the reaction to the live stream special programs or to Apothecary Diaries as immediately. I realize I didn't do Apothecary Diaries that early yesterday, but that's more what it would look like if I'm working in the mornings or something on Fridays in the future. And of course, if I somehow end up working like a night shift or an evening shift or something, that could drastically alter just everything. But the reason I bring this up is just to keep people aware, let that be a known factor that for now, I have a little bit more time, a little bit more energy to do a few things. That's why I've been doing a few more things, but that will not be the case forever. It's not me picking up the pace and moving towards full content creation right now. It's me just between things and therefore having more time. And that inevitably will not be the case eventually. I'll do my best within my capability of whatever my schedule ends up being to maintain what I'm doing right now, or at the very least not slow down my content if possible. As let's face it, a lot of this stuff I'm just eager to get to myself. So if I have to wait a little bit, that's just pain. But that is one of the big things for the future to keep an eye out for, is if you notice a relatively quick slowdown of some of my content or changing of when things release, that is probably why. Not to say that I'm putting the channel aside or making it any less of a priority for me. Personally, I would love to be able to just work on the channel, but of course, life comes first in a lot of cases. I can't just sit in my room recording videos and streaming every day, unless suddenly I get a massive revenue stream from it, which funnily enough, brings me to the next thing. As I mentioned previously, my channel has surpassed 500 subscribers as of recently. And that means, if you're not aware, that I am now capable of turning on YouTube memberships and super chats and stuff like that. I can't do ads or anything like that. That is a later thing, but sort of this first avenue of potential revenue has opened up to me. And given that is a purely opt-in thing, I have decided to turn it on. I don't see why not. As of the release of this video, memberships and super chats should be turned on. I don't expect anything from that. I don't want anyone to think I am now just directly shilling for give me money, but I do want to be transparent about things. I want to be known that if possible, I would adore being able to do this as even just a supplement to my earnings every month or whatever. Because inevitably, if I somehow was making enough on YouTube that I only need a part-time job rather than a full-time job, or even somehow making enough that I don't even need a job and can just do this full-time, that would be the dream. This channel is the first thing I've been truly greatly passionate about and stuck with for this long. There's basically been nothing in my life that I have enjoyed doing that is fulfilling, that also I've kept with for over a year and actually has the prospect of something more in the future. So inevitably, like a lot of people, that is sort of the dream in the sky for me, is if possible that someday. But that isn't possible until, you know, I start making money. I'm not going to jump headfirst into a channel that isn't making any money and just say, I'll survive, I'll figure it out somehow. Even when I, as a person, am in a relatively comfortable position. I'm not desperate, I'm not living paycheck to paycheck or anything. I currently am not employed, as I mentioned before, but my housing and food and stuff, that is not in danger. That is a safety net I have. So also don't think that because of my circumstances, I am in need of your support. I am not in need of anything right now. But like I said, the memberships and the super chats are a purely opt-in thing. If you have no interest in supporting me financially, you don't have to. I don't expect it of you. And in fact, if you don't have money to spare, don't support me financially. The last thing I want is people making their own lives worse for my benefit. That is the last thing I want. But for those of you who do have some money to spare, who are capable of throwing $1 my way every month or something like that, this is sort of my pitch to all of you. As things stand, I currently intend for there to be 2 tiers to the memberships. One that is just $1, nothing more. And just for clarification, because I know there are people outside of the US that watch my stuff, even if it's not the majority, I'm talking US dollars. But so like I said, first tier, $1. Nice and simple, literally the lowest amount they allow. I don't want to ask for much. I personally struggle in a lot of ways to really assess the value of my content. So I just made the first tier literally as low as it will go. And I don't have a ton of rewards in mind. Currently speaking, all I have planned is that I will shout out anybody who becomes a member at the end of any videos I make. I'll say it out loud, show it on the screen, that kind of thing, unless you personally don't want me to, of course. I understand that some people don't want to like actively be spotlighted. I know that I have been a lurker on the internet for most of my life, and this channel is sort of the main exception. But for anyone who is interested, the $1 tier will get you a shout out, and the other main thing it'll get you is access to a Discord I've made. It's just a Discord server. I've set it up to be just sort of a place to hang out, talk about any of the things I cover on my channel. I have dedicated spaces for Genshin, Star Rail, Zenless, more general channels, stuff for each of the anime I'm reacting to, things like that. And I intend to sort of hang out on that Discord quite a bit. It's a place that realistically you'll be able to much more directly interact with me to a degree. My current plan is that there's a lot of things that I don't necessarily think I would consider doing as full streams or videos that I probably will just sort of sit in a Discord call on the server and do in my own time. And if anyone wants to stop by into the voice call or just watch me do it and lurk, that will be an option. And that'll probably be the place where I do stuff like playing Genshin, Star Rail, and Zenless events, stuff like that. More minor things that I don't want to dedicate full streams to. I won't be as performative. I'll more so just sort of be doing it myself as I normally would be playing off screen, but also just the option for any of you to, like I said, hang out while I'm doing it. So like I said, nothing too crazy, nothing too substantial, but I feel like that's a sort of good start. I might consider a few other things in the future to add in, but at least for now, that is the plan. I'm not really setting it up as a major reward, as much as becoming a member is just a way to support me more explicitly and extra beyond what just normally watching my videos does. But I also wanted to sort of give something at least. But that brings us then to the second tier, which I just set at $5. That's, I feel like, another good just sort of threshold. And this one is literally just if you want to support me even more. What it'll do, the only thing it'll do, is get you an extra role on the Discord where I deem you a cool person for supporting me. Of course, all of you who would be supporting me are cool, but the $5 tier people would get the role, and there will be just probably like a couple channels that are specifically only accessible by the cool people of the $5 tier. Nothing big, literally just if you want to support me even more. And if any of you are insane and just have way too much money to throw at me and want to do more than $5 a month, that's where I have super chats turned on. Just stop by the stream and throw a super chat at me if you feel like I deserve your money more than you do. A few more things to mention about the memberships that I actually forgot to mention when I was originally recording this. This is me after editing the video. I just wanted to add this just as some clarifications mainly. But one other minor thing is that though I intend for anime reactions and stuff to continue to have on my channel and community post polls about what to react to next, that kind of stuff, we'll probably have one of those pretty soon, given that Apothecary Diaries is coming to a close. But the Discord is going to be actually a place where anybody of either tier, $1 or $5, has access to some dedicated text channels that are specifically for recommending anime to me, recommending games to me, that kind of stuff. It's a place for any of my members on the Discord server to be able to tell me stuff they are interested in seeing me do on stream or make videos about. So though that's more a secondary thing, not a full benefit in of itself, but it is something notable. I feel like that as a member, you'd essentially have a much more direct means of influencing what anime I react to and what non-HoYoverse games I play. But other than that, I just wanted to acknowledge one thing, clarify one thing, because I know I only was figuring this out in my own time recently. For anyone who's not familiar with how member exclusive or like Patreon exclusive Discords work, because I know I wasn't prior to now, the most convenient way for me to have it set up, which is the way I intend to do, is where it is integrated with the YouTube channel. And basically what that means is that, if I understand things correctly, I'm still figuring things out. When you sign up for your membership, if you have your Discord account linked to the YouTube account you use to sign up for the membership, you should automatically be given an invite or access or whatever to the Discord server. I don't exactly know what it looks like on the receiving end. I've been doing some research into what it looks like, but I am still figuring things out, like I said. But so that is an important thing. If you want access to the Discord, when you're signing up for the membership, you need to make sure, obviously, first, you have a Discord account, but then second off, that the Discord account is linked with your YouTube account. And of course, it has to be the YouTube account that you used to sign up for your membership. And though this isn't a tutorial video for that, there's plenty of things you can look up for that. You should be able to do that on Discord just by going into your user settings, going to connections, I believe the section is, and YouTube should be one of the options. But essentially that is that for the memberships and everything. That is all there really is to it. It's just a way that if you are financially capable to give me a little extra support if you want to. Purely opt in. If you don't have the money or don't want to support me in that way, don't do it. I do not want to pressure anyone into doing this or feel like anyone is forced to. It's essentially just getting a step closer to me and being able to hang out with other people who similarly want to support me. And though I don't expect anything to come of me turning on memberships, I am hopeful. I am hopeful. That maybe someday in the future I might be able to make something more financial out of this. Be able to do more with the channel because I don't need to focus on another job or something. But like I said, that is sort of headed in the clouds, true naive dream about it more than anything. I recognize how unlikely that is. But at least for now, when it's something that doesn't actually hinder my content in any way, I feel like the membership stuff is fine to do. It's an option I have, and it won't harm any of you unless you are bad with your own money. But I think sort of the last thing I want to say about the memberships before I sort of close this out, because I have been rambling, is that I can assure that almost certainly pretty much any money that you all decide to give me will probably be directly put back into the channel. There is a lot of little things that just cost money that will greatly improve the channel. At the very least, when I'm not relying on this channel for my actual survival or anything, the money that it hypothetically makes would almost certainly just go straight to that. For example, you've inevitably probably noticed in some of my videos that my lighting is shit. There's a lot of ways I can improve my lighting. I just have some random lamps for my lighting, which have worked fine. They work okay. I easily could get more professional lighting if I have the money to spare. Another big thing to fix the lighting is just getting actual fucking blackout curtains for my windows. I have a window right next to me that whenever I'm recording in the day, I just hang up a couple shirts over the window because I don't have curtains that keep the light out. And that inevitably means if I'm ever recording in the afternoon or the morning like I am right now, my lighting can just become very bad very quickly, depending on just the lighting outside. And so blackout curtains would help with that. And the other main thing I can think of is just getting a better camera. I'm currently, and have been for my entire channel, using just a webcam I bought during quarantine. So there's a lot of little things that would help to improve the quality of my videos. And that's what realistically any membership earnings would go to. I obviously can't guarantee when those improvements would happen, how quickly they'd be, if they'll happen at all, because if there's like 2 people giving me $2 a month, then I'm not going to be able to do much with that. But I mean, every bit counts nonetheless. But with that, I'll stop rambling. I've talked for way too long about all of this, so I think I'll leave it there. I've greatly appreciated all the support and really enjoyed making all of my content on my channel for the last year plus a few months, and I want to keep going. So yeah, I hope you all just have a great day. If somehow you're someone watching this that hasn't subscribed, feel free to subscribe and maybe consider becoming a member if you like my stuff. But with that, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.